Well, hello, souls. How are you doing today on this beautiful Friday? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Princess Leah 888, and this is your daily divine messages from Spirit, our weekend wisdom. Gonna see what we have going on here. So, first of all, happy Friday. I've already said that. Happy Friday. And almost summertime. Can you believe it? For some of us, my son's only got a day and a half left of school. You might be hearing some background noises. I was woken up this morning by the maintenance men asking if my water was leaking because underneath me, I guess the people underneath me are having some leakage. And so they turned off all the water. And I think that this is them working on it. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you, I don't know exactly why. However, sometimes I feel the need to share things with you as it comes onto my heart or my mind. Perhaps for others, if you're going through the same thing, maybe it's a message in disguise, something leaking, um, water stopping, something leaking and the flow stopping, causing the flow to stop. So we'll get into that. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am an intuitive artist channel, and my mission here is to do my part to heal the heart of the divine masculine and the sacred feminine through conscious love. So all my channels are always intended for the highest and greatest good, and always from the highest frequency of love, divine love, conscious love, so that we can move more in the direction on this road to conscious love, because that is what we are. If you're returning family and friend, welcome back, beloved. I always appreciate your support. If you're not already a part of my Vibe Tribe, make sure you subscribe if you'd like to be, and hit that notification bell so you can know whenever I go live. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that like button on your way in or out if any of this resonates for you. So, what I like to get started with, if you don't know, now you know. Our sound bowl heart chakra, our heart chakra sound bowl. Kind of said that backwards. This is where we tap into the frequencies of the heart and we see if there's any other downloaded message that wants to come through before we get into the Akashic Tarot, the Beyond Lemuria oracles, the Moonology, and the Four Agreements, and even some positive affirmations that we might need to take with us for this weekend. I was feeling that there might be some positive affirmations we may need to be speaking to ourselves in today. So let's go ahead and place our hand on our heart. You can close your eyes and take a deep breath. Once again, I have different pictures going into my head. One of the words that's coming up is unity. Another word that's coming up is AA, like alcohol, Alcoholics Anonymous, Al-Anon. I'm not sure why these are coming up, but these are words. These are visions, visuals that are showing. So maybe I'm picking up on a collective that has been through AA, is going through AA or is thinking about it. Maybe you are ready to close a cycle of addiction in your life. That's your next step. And that's why this message, why your heart has led you here. But I hear the birds chirping in the background, which brings me a visual of the park, an open space. Freedom is what I hear. Free. Someone just wants to be free. Free from their addictions, free from their toxicities, free from their pain. It's a very specific channel. I don't know who it's for. But if you're listening and if this resonates, then this is for you. I'm hearing Spirit say, do not be afraid, my child. For all that you need is within you. Let your emotions come up. Let them flow through you. Let them exit your face, your eyes, your mouth, your body. Maybe you are hurting. But a change is going to come. I shared one of my songs that I wrote a long time ago, back in 2012, when I moved back home from when I dropped out of BFA musical theater school, college. And I was back home with my mom and my stepdad, and I wrote this song that was a remix to Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come, and I shared that song for the first time to my special, precious beloved. And it's the first time I'd shared that song to anyone, really, besides, in a very long time, I should say. Besides my family, even. And the chorus really sticks with me because it's a tricky chorus. The melody, I've always kind of never known how to quite get the melody. So I think that that's also a message as well. But it goes something like this. She told me not to worry because he has a plan for we just need to be true, and we will see that it's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come, change gon' come. So if you're listening, I feel that this message is for you to hear, to know, to believe, to trust, to surrender to the change that is coming, even if it has been a long time of pain, of addiction, of dependency, of powerlessness. a change is going to come. Just ask the gracious, omnipresent, divine God to change your heart. Not your circumstances, not the other person, but your heart. Because when you can change your heart, then everything else around you has the capability to change. That's beautiful. Thank you, Spirit. I almost didn't want to stop. And I just heard, well, why did you? And then my response was because my arm was tired. So maybe that's something that you feel as you are moving. Maybe you feel like you're going around in circles, maybe, and you want to stop, but you don't want to stop, but you're tired. Maybe you're tired of going around in circles. I'm hearing it's okay to rest, but know that you're not going around in circles, but you're going around in cycles. So though you may have felt like you've been here before, you're actually one frequency higher. Don't let yourself spiral down to the lower frequencies where you feel that you have been before or where you have been before. But even coming back to this space, from the I love this analogy, from head on, when you're overlooking something from head on, from the top, a spiral, it looks like a circle, right? But as if you were to look from eye level, you can see that it's slowly moving upwards. So what perspective are you looking? This could be in a partnership, in a relationship. Do you feel like you're spiraling? Do you feel like you're circling? Do you feel like you're circling back to the same thing over and over? But it's not that you're circling back. Maybe it's not that you're regressing backward, taking 2 steps back, so to speak. Maybe it's not that you're going around and around in circles. Maybe you're spiraling up. Maybe you're meeting a similar space, but it's from a higher level, higher frequency. And this allows you to be able to see it from a different viewpoint because you have risen above that previous viewpoint. So maybe you can see it with a little more equality as the rainbow is equally pouring, meeting, beginning, ending in the cups. Rainbows of miracles. And as she flows down the stream, flows down the current, flows with the current. I'm hearing stay in the current, flow in the current. If you feel like you're circling back to the same things over and over, perhaps it's time to flow in this current moment. And this could be a partnership, a relationship romantically. This could be a business, professional, platonic, friendship, familyship. Maybe you're looking at what you're manifesting in silence. I knew the Knight of Crystals was going to come out. I saw it in my mind's eye. As soon as I started singing, a change is going to come. It has been a long time. The Knight of Crystals, Knight of Pentacles, is the slowest knight in the deck. But that's because it's diligent. That's because it takes its time to make sure that when it reaches its destination, when it makes its decision, when the Knight of Crystals chooses and commits, it is loyal, sturdy, stable, secure, rooted, grounded, everlasting. And whatever you've been manifesting, the Magician and the Seven of Swords gives, this is giving me that you have been manifesting in silence. The Seven of Swords, some people want to say that it only means deceit and sneakiness, but that's not true. The Seven of Swords is about moving in a manner that is unseen. And it's not the movement that is unseen that makes it sneaky or deceitful. It's the intention behind your unseen movement. Why are you not wanting to be seen? Who are you hiding from? And is it because you don't want people to see what it is that you're doing? And that comes from, if this were in reverse, if the Seven of Swords were in reverse, if the Magician were in reverse, this would give me, an up to no good manipulator who is using their power to control and deceive. But it's upright. And I see this as more so as, there's one of my favorite sayings for the Seven of Swords is take what's mine and leave the rest behind. And I don't see that as deceitful. I see that as empowering when you recognize that there is only so much you can control. There's only so much that is for you to hold. Sometimes it's not for others. Sometimes it's not for you to hold. Sometimes it's for others. It's other people's stuff, other people's work, other people's pain and traumas. And you can only take what's yours. And the Magician, I see this is the master manifester. You have all the tools within you to manifest and create. I have this little baby bird right outside my, he just flew away. But I have a bird's nest right above my balcony. And so these little birds come out every spring, new birds hatch, and they just chirp, chirp, chirp right on my balcony, which I love. And I just want to let you know that that's what that sound is. But you have all the tools within you. You are like the baby bird that has just finally left the nest. And the birds that fly and learn how to fly, they are scared at first. They don't know. They don't, are they going to fly or splat but then they learn that once they leave their mother's nest, that they have all the tools they need within them to fly. That's the message from that baby bird coming to say hello. Sometimes as you are manifesting, especially if it takes a long time, especially if it's taking a long time to have manifested. The Page of Cups underneath it, this is something that you've been manifesting since you were a child, something that is emotional, even with background distractions or noises, even when faulty foundations have been crumbling the tower, even as you continue to awaken to a higher consciousness of who you truly, authentically are and have always been. The faulty foundations, the parts of you, the false identities of you, the ego that has created this persona around who it thinks you need to be in order to be acceptable or lovable. All of that is crumbling because you're awakening to your highest, truest, authentic self with the high priestess. You're connecting with your higher self, with the most high, gracious, omnipresent, divine source, eternal love within you. And sometimes it's a little unclear where you're going. Sometimes you do have to wait for the dust to settle if there's been a lot of movement. And I have to say, there's been a battle, right? Look at this Five of Swords. I'm not going to go too much into that. I see the King of Cups under that. Sometimes you're up to your waist in emotions, battling internal conflicts of doubt, of judgment, of fear, of shame, of guilt, of other people's opinions. And that's why it has been a long journey. And that's why you are being guided this weekend to move in silence, to manifest in silence, to not have to feel the need to share everything that is in your mind, that you're working on, that you're healing through, that you're, with everyone. Use discernment, be cautious of who you're sharing with, because not everyone can hold what's for you to hold. And you are not to hold what's for others to hold, right? So just be mindful in that space of manifesting. As you're manifesting, people, you're in a vulnerable state for things to infiltrate, for things to try to influence you, distract you. Today is the full moon. I'm sorry, new moon. No, tomorrow is the new moon in Taurus. So the moon, I believe, now has moved into Taurus already, but it'll be at which is funny because the Knight of Crystals, I always call it Taurus energy, because Taurus is that earth sign, fixed earth sign. So it's hard to move. It's hard to shift rapidly. It's hard to change. And it also takes a while for a Taurus to get going because the Taurus is the bull. A bull has a hard time getting going, but once the bull has its eye set on you, it will not. Now you can't get it out. Like you can't move its fixation, right? So that's why it takes a while to get to where you're going. That's why it's been taking a while to get to where you're going, because the momentum is continuing to rise. The momentum is continuing to increase like a train, right? And once that momentum starts, it's going to be hard to stop. So be mindful of what direction your momentum is moving you in, is manifesting for you, right? Remember that Two of Cups we saw, the flow. If it's in a partnership, what is the momentum that you are wanting to move in this partnership? Is it going to be in love or is it going to be in fear? Because once that momentum starts, the energy law of attraction, that momentum is what you are going to perpetuate. And right now, you have some new blueprints coming in. You have new blueprints I'm hearing the new blueprints of your life, of your soul, I'm hearing B.O.B. and Taylor Swift, both of us, and that's one of the songs I love to cover. But one of the lyrics he says is something along the lines of, without having for me to sing the whole song, was if I would make a new blueprint, then build it from the ground up. Because if it's all for one and one for all, then maybe one day we all could ball. Do it one time for the underdogs. Sincerely yours, one of y'all. The portal keeper, number 50, 515 is the date at the time of this. But if you're finding this in the future, that's okay too. Maybe those are significant numbers for you. Fives are of change. And when you have that zero behind it, that is the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the gracious, omnipresent divine behind you in this change, in this shift. Fives are of expansion and shifting, movement, freedom, grace. The evil eye here, you are protected as you are moving through this portal of change. A change is going to come. It's been a long time, but you are coming from the ethers, from ground zero. That's why. And sometimes it's unspeakable. Look at that, 5-5. Ascended master number. Your unique gifts are radically expanding you. Radically, endlessly. Look, number 23, which reduces to another 5, endless opportunities. You are being divinely protected with this Egyptian cat as well, of intuition. Cats are very intuitive. They move from the spirit world and the earth world all the time. That's why they sleep all the time. They have a very, very keen sense of protection, of safety, right? They have amazing balance. They can always land on their feet most of the time if they're healthy. But most of the time they will, right? You have endless opportunities that are about to radically expand and change. Endless opportunities that your unique gifts are going to radically expand and change in your life, starting from the ground up. New blueprints building from the ground up. So don't be afraid, because you are protected through this. As you are manifesting, you have all the tools within you. You are grounded and secure. Knight of Crystals, slow tortoise energy. I always hear Taurus the tortoise. Just because it's slow doesn't mean it's wrong or bad or not working. Just because it happened slowly, just because it unfolded slowly, just because it maybe took longer than you thought for it to manifest and be here, trust me, beloved, it's here. It's coming. Don't let your past hold you back. This is why I was picking up earlier on those who are feeling this need for freedom, ready for your next step from the past of addictions or dependencies. Confidence is your key to success. I like this. The new moon in Leo, the South Node. Right now, the collective South Node is in Virgo. Virgo is that another earth sign of detail, perfection, of needing to get to the root of the source, of needing to understand why, this from the seed, from the unspeakable, where it began. It's very meticulous and precise. And that's a lot like this Knight of Crystals energy as well, that it will take longer to make sure the details are accurate. But don't let sometimes that perfectionism can actually cause paralysis. You don't need what I'm hearing right now. You don't need to master your craft. You just need to master your confidence. Thank you. Communication. Confidence and communication is the key. Communication is key. Confidence is key to your success. Confidence and communication is the key to success. Something's coming to an end. It says a fiery climax approaches. It says you don't have to master your craft. Virgo energy, South Node energy. Don't let your past hold you back. Who you were yesterday, who you were last year, who you were 10 years ago, who you were 20 years ago is not who you are today. Why? Because if we really want to get into the nitty gritties, nerdiness of the astrology, we are in a whole new timeline. We're in a whole new portal this year because of so many transits of planets that have moved out of decades, centuries of cycles. Saturn, for instance, moving out of into Aries, it takes 30 years for Saturn to move through an entire zodiac wheel. So for Aries, the very first sign of the zodiac, that is the new year of Saturn. Saturn, the planet of karma and responsibilities. That's a whole new, when they say Saturn return, 30-year cycles, every 30 years, our Saturn returns and we begin a brand new cycle and we learn from what we have done in our past 30 years so that we cannot repeat those same cycles. That's why when people say don't even try to get married or have kids until you're in your 30s, it's probably the best advice you should probably take. If I could tell my younger self to wait till I was 30, I would have to have a baby. I really would. Because there's so much that I learned even from just 29 to 30 about myself, and even from 30 to 34 now. And obviously, we're going to continue to learn and expand, but there's so much that goes into this understanding. Thank you, Spirit. This card just flew out. Look, release the need to be right. That's the biggest, I feel like that's the biggest thing that we learn once we hit a certain age is I don't need to fight to be right. I don't need to be right all the time, because sometimes the need to be right can even can be more detrimental than just letting it go. The need to be right. I'm reading The Heart of the Soul by Gary Zukav, one of the books I'm reading, and in the chapter of power struggles. And it talks about, literally, power struggles are about needing to be right because it is what makes you feel empowered. That's what makes you feel not even empowered, but feel like you have an external grip on power. And when we need to be right, when we need to have this power struggle, when we need to have this sense of control, it's because of an internal inferiority. It's because of this emotional turmoil of pain that we have a hard time, that we refuse to address. And so when we feel inferior, when we feel powerless, when we feel that emotional set of pain, we want to take control. And sometimes we think being right is the way to control. Being right is the way to take your power back. Being right, but that's the ego. That's that ego again. And I was actually hearing that before I came on, the, ego, um, personal ego or human ego and spiritual ego. And is there really a difference, right? Because people, I remember talking to a friend one time and she was like warning me about spiritual ego and versus human ego, and how it's really interesting to think about, because all of it still kind of sums up to this particular need to be right. The human ego needs to be right in order to feel safe, because if it's wrong, then it feels threatened. And that's what the ego creates, the persona around us, the shield around us, our personality, our identity, to shield us from possible rejection or pain that we have felt in the past. The ego's intentions are not necessarily bad, but the ego's intentions are to protect us from past pain, just like our brain protects us from past physical pain. Our ego protects us from past emotional pain. But in order to do so, it usually creates this whole persona of who we think we need to be in order to be perceived as not penetrable for pain, not able, capable of feeling pain, or do you know what I mean? So that's where this arrogance, this conceitedness, this power struggle, controlling, manipulative, all that energy that could come from the Seven of Swords and Magician had it been in reverse, right? If you were in that shadow aspect of the Magician of this Seven of Swords, trying to control the outcomes, trying to manipulate because of this need to protect, fear of being wrong, fear of being outcasted, fear of being abandoned or rejected or made fun of. But look at what this says, because I'm going on and on about it. When you believe something, you assume that you're right, and you may even destroy relationships in order to defend your position. Look at that. Let go of the need to defend your position. Because do you want to be right and destroy your relationships? Is it really worth that? Or do you want to be at peace? Look at that. Or do you want to manifest your true intentions? I love that we have this manifest card with the Magician, the master manifester. Because it's not about being right. Being right doesn't create confidence, is what I'm hearing also. Confidence is already trusting and knowing that your truth is your truth. And I always hear Deepak Chopra when I hear this card is, are you defending the truth? Because the truth needs no defense. So when we get worked up around what people are saying or taking things personally, these are be impeccable with your word, but the next agreement is don't take things personally. And when we do take things personally and then we get all worked up and then we're making assumptions about what, people might be saying or doing when we're taking things personally, and then we feel this need to prove ourselves worthy. And that can cause a lot of conflict, that can cause a lot of strife, that can cause a lot of argument. My air just turned on. I'm going to close the door. Yes. And the air turning on is also a message there, because it gets so loud on my balcony when it turns on that I have to close my balcony door as I'm saying that, right? feeling like we have to always constantly defend our position or our truth. And I'm saying this, and this is a message for all of us, and me included, because I'm a part of this collective. And I was thinking about that myself, of how loud it feels to need to be right. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about, well, what makes, me right and them wrong? What makes me better and them worse? What makes me special and them not? What makes what I think is, and this was me thinking about, having different perspectives, or not perspectives, but having different interests. And I found myself in this same space of this need to be right, in this power struggle within my own collective, of like, well, what I think is, you know, right, or what I think is more spiritual, or what I think is more correct on how to, live your life, aka, you know, I think tarot and astrology is more spiritual, or healthier, and blah blah blah, right? Versus pop culture and McDonald's. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's who am I? And it was kind of and I love that these cards are coming out to also remind me. Thank you, Spirit. I received this. To remind me to also, this is about humility. That's what this card is about. Humility. Humility. Understanding that you're not as bad as you think you are, and you're not as good as you think you are, right? It's being able to humbly recognize that I have so much more I can learn and grow from, and you can teach me different ways of thinking that I have never seen, or living, or understanding things, and you can appreciate what you appreciate, even if it's not my thing that I appreciate, but I appreciate that you appreciate what I appreciate. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be we all have to do the same thing, because then that would be boring, and then there would be no diversity, and with no diversity there can't be expansion. And that's the whole meaning for being here in this earthly experience. And I'm kind of going on my soapbox about it, so I'll let you go here in a second. But if you're picking up what I'm putting down, that is the message. That we're all meant to have different perspectives and different viewpoints and different interests and different opinions, so that we can expand our consciousness and understand. But it's the moment we think I'm right, you're wrong, I know better, you don't know shit, that we divide and separate and cut off ourselves, limit ourselves from being able to grow. Okay, for me, being able to flow like that Two of Cups card in our partnerships equally, right? There's an equal give and take. I see you as my equal, not I see you as someone I got to fix and improve and train. Or and you see me as someone you got to change, or navigate, or manipulate, or mold to your liking. No, we are here to enjoy each other and to learn from each other and all of our differences. That's a really beautiful message. Here's our positive affirmation: I am strong and determined. I like that. That's that Knight of Crystals energy. I am strong and determined to what? To manifest all that is intended for me to manifest. I am strong and determined, no matter how long it takes, to succeed, to manifest my true intentions. Look at that. I am strong and determined to manifest my true intentions, because I have all that I need. You see, it says love all here. Be impeccable with your word. manifesting your true intentions, regardless of what language you speak. Your intent will manifest through the word. What you dream, what you feel, what you really are will be manifested through the word. My positive thoughts create positive feelings, which create positive outcomes. That's the third part that they should write that in here. My positive thoughts create positive feelings, which create positive outcomes. That's why sometimes you do have to move in silence a little bit. Sometimes that's why you have to take what's yours, take what's mine, and leave the rest behind, because sometimes the rest is not positive. Sometimes the rest cannot move with you because it's holding you back, because it's keeping you stuck. When you allow your mind to stay in the positive vibrations of love, you can manifest your true intentions, because you are creating it from a feeling, from the feeling of positivity, from the feeling of love. And in doing so, that opens up your receptive energy to be able to cultivate and create and move and receive all the blessings and beauties and benefits that is your birthright. It only takes as long as it takes to let go of the need to be right, to let go of the need to control, and to just trust and surrender and believe that everything is always working out for your greatest and highest good. And let the universe show you how good it can really get. That's all. That's what I hear Spirit say. That's all. So I hope this helps. This was a beautiful message, nice and long. Thank you for letting me get on my soapbox and share what was coming to my heart. It was a channeled message from Spirit. If any of this resonates with you, make sure you hit that like button on your way out if you haven't already done so already. And if you're not a part of my Vibe Tribe, definitely subscribe if you'd like to be in this community where we are doing our part to heal the heart of the divine masculine and the sacred feminine through conscious love. Hit that notification bell so you can know whenever I go live. And until next time, my beautiful beloveds, I will see you in the next moon. Enjoy this new moon in Taurus this weekend. Set your new moon intentions. Bury it. What are you New moons are of new cycles. What are you manifesting in this new cycle? We are in this portal. What are you manifesting? It's in your hands. It's all within you. The key is within you. Okay? Confidence and communication is the key. So I love you so much. Till next time, peace and love. Namaste. Bye.